So we are very happy that PRA got formed, Pacific Recyclers Alliance got formed, and that was through a lot of hardship, different members and their own stories, and how we all got together. The PRA is representative of grassroots experiences. So our anniversary is actually for us is a moment of realization, of unity and solidarity that we have amongst us. Prior to the formation of PRA, we already had a bit of a working relationship, but what PRA meant was that collectively we now have a voice. We can say to the world what our struggles are, what our challenges are, and how do we want um, recyclers to be treated? How do we want those engaged in recycling to be treated? Whether it's a dignity issue, whether it's the issue of pushback, whether it's the issue of not being heard by different agencies. Some of the members still have different issues with at the national level, trying to work with different agencies and so forth. So it's a combination of all of our different experiences. So for us, the 1 year last year around this time we met. At that time, we met through support and funding from USAID, and other partners were there like JICA, who had been part of the formation of Pacific Recyclers Alliance. It was formed through consensus, and Fiji became the secretariat, and other positions were also appointed at that time. But it was done. The whole formation of PRA was done on the basis of our experiences, but also the guiding principles. What guides us all to work together? What are the core values of us as an organization? So that led us to form the alliance. For the last year, we've been trying to ensure that there is a governance structure, that it can be properly registered. So this is quite a milestone for us, because when we heard that now Pacific Recyclers Alliance, their 6 member countries actually are formally registered, that gives us a lot of um, emotions and a lot of you have to pinch yourself sometimes to realize that now we are a registered entity. Now these grassroots organizations, many of them who have operated in their own countries without a lot of support, actually have a form of unity, and there's an alliance that represents all of it. There are a few reasons. One of the key reasons is that all of us have similar experience, similar challenges, not same, but similar, where we are recognizing that Fiji has a waste management crisis, but so does many of the other Pacific Island countries. That means despite some of us existing, despite the companies trying to collect, move the barriers, move the conversations forward in the space of waste management, it has been very, very difficult. If it was easy, then probably we wouldn't have a waste management crisis. Probably we wouldn't be struggling with what we are struggling with as a region, where we don't know what to do with our waste. So the formation of prize, that representation, that these are not just the ones who are making policies, or not the ones who are running workshop or documentations or writing about this. These are the movers and shakers. They're actually doing something on the ground. These are the grassroots organizations who commit every day of their lives to try and change the little bit of the waste management space in their own countries. So that has been the one of the core drives, because we recognize individually we were struggling to move forward, but also the work that the organizations were doing, at many times there has not been enough support to elevate that work, and that's one of the main reasons why we are in this national or regional waste crisis. The other issues is around ensuring that we have a solution. So PRA is an active solution. It's not just a formation of alliance and our experiences. It is a vision to a solution. The vision to a solution is alone, our volumes are not enough to justify recycling solutions, full scale recycling solutions. Collectively, yes, we can. There's data, there is evidence, there's research that points that collectively we can have regional recycling solutions, regional recycling hub. This is one of the first steps. There are many, many steps to be taken, where at national level, countries have to do different things, policies, change of behavior, their own programs, their own best practice. academics involved and all of those things. But this is a big piece of the solution, because at some point we need to connect as a region. So for those who think that pra is still a feel good element, or is just a group of members who are sharing experience, it's not that. It's the experiences of these groups that is actually part of a solution, and the alliance is representing that united, and in a voice of solidarity, that we actually have the answers, we actually know how the solution could be reached. The challenge right now is, because we are grassroots, because we come from a background of experience first, then our voices are still not recognized, not heard, and that continues to be a challenge where we have to push those boundaries and say these are the solutions, these are the partners that we can work with. So when we formed the alliance last year, one of the key decisions that had to be reached as a consensus was whether the alliance will be a formal or informal alliance, and there was a consensus that it will be a formally registered alliance. But prior to that, there was always a vision. For many years, those of us working in this space recognized that to deal with this waste management crisis, we actually need to unite everybody. At that point, when we said a registration is needed, then Fiji got nominated that we will be the secretariat, and this is where the registration will take place. Why the registration is so important is, again, it's about legality, it's about recognition, it's about recognizing that there is a legitimate entity, and it's backed by a group of practitioners who are actually working in the field, but there's also a strong governance board. So we have a proper making of of our organization by a governance board, plus as well as those of us doing the day-to-day administration. Then the next steps from here would be then also trying to work to strengthen that. The registration is a key part of it, that we are legally registered, but to ensure that we have proper checks and balances, having financial manuals, having proper guiding documents that ensures that we are an organization that can pass an audit test, things like that. That also is around the element of ensuring that we can have meaningful conversation with donor agencies, with those that might want to fund certain programs to take the conversations forward, but also with the brand names, those who are sometimes seen as part of the problem because their products contribute to the conversation around climate change or waste management crisis and all of that. The alliance is representing that we are here to talk. We are not here as an activism group that will sit and criticize, and we are here as partners that says, let's talk about a solution. So the alliance, the formation, and the registration is now a significant step that we can talk to members, we can talk to industries, we can talk to government agencies in different parts, and to development partners, to developing countries, and say that these are the way forward that we can take together to address the waste management crisis. So it's in twofold. Like one was, as I was saying, that strengthening the structure, the core function, how we are all going to operate as an alliance. So all of that is there. We've got an active constitution and all of that, financial manual guiding all of those kind of things is part of what we ensure that the organization is structured and functioning well. In terms of the next steps, there's a lot of things that has to be done in terms of exchange learning. So rightfully said, the academics do play a key role, because that's one party, one sector that sort of has been disconnected. We are fortunate that some of them have come forward, the likes of academics from developed places like UNSW, for example, actively exploring. But we still have struggles with universities and academics locally, where they're wearing a very strong hat of academics, but not trying to work together with grassroots organizations. So a bit of that is something that we'll need to push forward. Attached to all of that is finding best practice. So ensuring that we have solutions that we have tested trial. It's evidence based solution. It's not just us saying that this is best practice. It is actually evidence that suggests, that actually supports that this is best practice. Once we get there, and some of our practices is recognized now globally as best practice. So once we have that, we should be able to then pass that knowledge to our partners. That's some things that is in the pipeline. For example, we have capacity building we're trying to do with other regional members, other PRA members. That's something that we are actively trying to explore. Those capacity building slash exchange learning is a key part of it, because we want to take our solution, but they also have to localize it with their knowledge, and all of that, so we don't defeat our messaging that solutions have to be always locally led. So while solutions, some of the solutions are um, maybe it is crafted here in Fiji, some solutions might be crafted in Samoa or PNG or somewhere else. The idea is to exchange, to have exchange learning, to share knowledge, and to actively work together. So the lead up to all of this would be that working closely with key partners, academics and all, but also start passing on whatever programs we have recognized as best practice, so every other country starts following the same models, the same, localizing it but still following the same structures. The emphasis on data, the emphasis on ensuring that we have that element of control procedures, and all of that to be intact. So we are shifting the journey forward, or taking the journey forward in a parallel way, where all of us are moving together forward in those countries. It's really important, because right now we are in that stage. We were fortunate that USAID came to our registration, our formation stages, but now after post registration, we need to have certain things done. We need to call on a proper election. We need to do other documents. We need to come up with our financial manual. We need to do induction of our trustees. While we have expert trustees, we also want our trustees to be fully aware of what we stand for, what do we represent, what each country does, and all of. So that initial phase is where we are, and my request will be for any development partner, any agency who is listening and who has got resources, is to come forward, because this is beyond just having conferences, which is now looked down at. Really, some of the conferences are really meaningless, and some of the forums don't actually serve any purpose. This is beyond that. This is actually part of a solution. These discussions are not going to be a 1 week of some discussions or some conversations and nothing happens after that. All of these are effective pathways to bring about change. So we really need support from development partners. We really need support from government agencies and private partners, brand names, to allow us to have a structure built and to allow meaningful collaboration to take place. We will need support for a while, because the exchange learning that we're trying to do to ensure that the knowledge we have, we can pass it on to another country or get their knowledge back to us, will require some support, so we can travel, we can get the knowledge here, and things like that. So there is a genuine need for support, for fundraising in our within our organization at PRF. We have a dedicated person who is going to be looking after our funding opportunities and all of that. So we are already setting those things in place, so that donor agency, the engagement there could be effective, and we could take those forward. Under Pacific Recyclers Alliance itself, there's a subcommittee that is supposed to be now looking into fundraising strategies and how do we raise funds for to meet our requirements. Yeah, my one of my calls would be one of the essence of what we originally said at the formation of the Pacific Recyclers Alliance is recycling should be left to recyclers. That will always be our call. So this formation, the registration, our solidarity, our unity in the recycling space is a call out for that. Is that we want that industry be respected. We want our places to be respected in our individual countries. That recycling, when there's a conversation about recycling, what we say, nothing about us without us. The same element applies here, is when we're talking about recycling now, besides at a national level, we have a regional entity. So when we're talking about regional recycling, out of, not just out of respect, not just out of courtesy, but out of common decency, we should be ensuring that these organizations are part of the conversation, that their solutions are part of solution, and not that they still have to fight for their relevance. Because for many years we have fought for our relevance, we still continue to fight for our relevance, while we are the groups that are trying to bring solution to the equation. So that if that stops, if we can stop the testing of our partners, and that we don't have to continue to fight for our relevance, then a lot of conversations will become easier. So that will be our call, is recycling should always be left to the recyclers in Pacific. And that is what our regional entity will always advocate for.